Hello, and welcome to Handled Ish Productivity for the Imperfect, a weekly podcast for those who want to elevate their productivity but are not looking for perfection. I'm your host, Betsy Hayes, and I am really happy you're here with me in podcast land or on YouTube. This is episode 71, Ignore Your Lame Excuses Challenge, part one. The idea for this episode came when I was listening to this content creator that I follow. Her name is Layla Hormozi. Her husband is Alex Hormozi, and they are entrepreneurs, and they have a ton of businesses, and so they do a lot of stuff about leadership. And she also does a lot about life and things directed toward or women in particular. And I really do like a lot of the things that she talks about. She's very no nonsense, which I really appreciate. And so she was talking about this idea that we should F our mood. And F doesn't stand for forget, but I want to keep my clean rating on my podcast. And so the whole idea is sometimes we as humans choose to do something and then we aren't, quote, in the mood, right? We are tired. We don't feel good. We don't feel like it. And I'm using a whiny voice on purpose because that's really what we're doing, right? And then we don't do the thing. And her whole thought is that, forget what kind of mood you're in. Doesn't matter if you're tired or, not feeling it. Her suggestion is you've decided to do said thing. Just go ahead and do said thing, right? F your mood. And so I really started thinking about this because I kind of liked the whole thought. And I started thinking about, for me, it's not necessarily that I'm not in the mood, it's that I'm giving myself really lame excuses. And so that's why I decided to call this week's episode Ignore Your Lame Excuses Challenge. And again, this is part one because I'm issuing the challenge. And then next week will be part two when we will all reflect on how we did on said challenge. And the reason I chose the phrase lame excuses is, or let me define that a little bit. So I'm calling it that because these are excuses that are really not legitimate, right? There are often legitimate reasons why we can't do things, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we're going to put those in a separate pile. What I'm talking about are the excuses that if anyone was really going to question you on them, they would completely crumble and fall apart, right? These are excuses that if you, even had a conversation with yourself about, hey, is this really true? Is this really an absolute reason that I can't do this thing? Even yourself would say, yeah, you know what? This is not really a good excuse. So that's why I'm calling them lame excuses. And I really, taking a little page from Layla and her F the mood kind of vibe. I'm thinking about this whole idea of just ignoring your lame excuses for a week. And there's kind of two schools of thought, right? I mentioned a little bit of one earlier. When you are telling yourself a story or giving yourself a lame excuse, one strategy is you could question yourself, right? Is this really, really, truly an excuse? For example, unfortunately, I am still struggling with creating a consistent exercise habit. And my current struggle is when the alarm wakes up, I might tell myself, oh my gosh, I'm too tired. I need to sleep in a little more. I do suffer from a little bit of insomnia, so it's not like completely BS, but I definitely am not too tired to do whatever workout I have planned, right? I am not an Olympic athlete, so I'm pretty sure I can muster up the energy. And so that's one school of thought, right? Is this really an excuse? Like, did you really need to sleep in? Are you really, quote, too tired to do whatever workout you had planned? And the answer is no, right? And so in this case, you're sort of having a conversation with yourself about your lame excuse and realize that, you know what, your excuse is kind of not good. So you go ahead and do the thing. And then the other school of thought is to do what I'm encouraging all of us to do this week and just ignore your lame excuses, right? Whatever excuse that you are giving yourself, just ignore it and do the thing, right? This is much along the lines of Layla and her F your mood, right? Forget about whatever excuse it is. Doesn't matter, right? Don't analyze it. Don't, overthink it. Just be like, hey, you know what? I don't care what excuse I am creating for myself. I don't care, if I'm in the mood. I don't care about any of that. I have decided to do said thing, and so I'm going to do said thing. And what's interesting is our brains like to give us what we want. And so if we are kind of rewiring ourselves and, for example, I'll use my example again, and I start consistently, getting up and, exercising and getting all of those benefits that I want to get from it. My brain is going to start, helping validate those decisions, right? And helping validate that that is a good choice for me because that is what what I'm doing. And same thing, again, we just sort of get into a rut, right? We give ourselves a bunch of lame excuses and then those create more lame excuses. And pretty soon, 4 weeks have gone by and we haven't done, the thing that we want to do. So think about what thing that you've been wanting to do that you've been giving yourself some lame excuses about. Excuse me. This could literally be anything, right? This could be, a small, medium, or large home improvement project. This could be replanting a plant. This could be, organizing your surface of your desk. This could be, again, health related, right? Like maybe, meal prepping or exercising or planning or taking your lunch, right? And all these things, you're like, I can't take my lunch today because blah, 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 right? I can't clear off my desk today because blah, 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 blah. Well, again, if pushed, most of these excuses are, in fact, a little bit lame. And so I want you just to ignore them this week. So pick your thing, right? We want to narrow our focus. So I'm picking the thing that I swear I really want to do, and that's to get up and do my workout in the morning before I start my day. And whatever mood I'm in, whatever excuse that my brain is giving me, I'm going to ignore all of it and I'm going to get up and I'm going to do the thing and it's going to be great. And so actually kind of cheated with the challenge a little bit. I actually did that this morning and it was great. And so, I have the rest of the week to go because again, we're just going to do this for a week. We're going to ignore our lame excuses. We're going to do the thing. And while this, obviously isn't an earth shattering mindset shift, I think it's a different thought exercise, or excuse me, a different actual exercise than a lot of things that we talk about doing when we're talking about creating habits. And I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how it works in practice. My thought, like all things like this, is it'll be a little more challenging than it appears on the surface. But what the heck, right? It's worth a try. So think about your thing. What is it that you keep excusing, and it is legitimately something that you really want to do? We talked a couple weeks ago about over-index joy when it comes to those nagging tasks. I'm pretty sure we're going to get some over-index joy here when it comes to doing the thing that we keep making excuses about. So this week, ignore your lame excuses, just do the thing. And I can't wait to hear how you do. Would love to, find out what are you giving yourself excuses about and how does this particular strategy work? So let me know at Betsy Hayes, BetsyHays on social media. My website is betsyahays.com. And until next time, have the most amazing week. You are awesome and you are doing the things. And I promise you that you are doing way better than you think you are. Trust me and take care.